Hey, it's Joy with the Art of Acceptance. I just wanted to come on kind of quickly and just tell y'all how I came up with the name, because I don't really think I've done that. Well, I was at church one day, and our pastor did an exercise to get us to get our purpose down to one word. And I know a lot of us have probably read books about purpose and things like that, but he wanted us to get it down to one word. Well, throughout the exercise, I came out with the word acceptance. So the definition of acceptance, there's several of them, but the action of consenting to or undertake something offered. If you offer me a Reese cup, I will eat the Reese cup. The action or process of being received as adequate or suitable, typically to be admitted into a group. So that would just be like, hey, you tried out for the basketball team and you made it. You were accepted onto the basketball team. It may be, hey, you and I have some things in common, so we're accepted into the group of hanging out with each other. You're found suitable to hang out with one another. And it can also be a willingness to tolerate a difficult or unpleasant situation. Those are kind of the three definitions that I kind of linger on, I guess you can say. Because I want to be clear that acceptance is not agreement. Those are two different words. Agreement means harmony or accordance in opinion or feeling. Acceptance does not mean you're going to agree with every opinion, every emotion, every belief system. So they're two different words. An art is a skill at doing a specific thing, and it's usually acquired through practice. So the art of acceptance is practicing acceptance. So let me tell you three things about it. Acceptance does not mean that you can't work on changing. So this is acceptance about yourself. When you're trying to accept maybe that you're very sensitive, it doesn't mean you can't work on not being so sensitive and not taking things so personally. Maybe acceptance is I'm a little overweight. Doesn't mean you can't work on losing weight or eating healthier. You can still accept who you are and be happy with who you are while working on changing things. It does not mean that you like or support everything. It doesn't mean I'm going to support every political viewpoint, every religious viewpoint, every moral viewpoint or compass out there. It just means that you might accept the person, but not their belief system. And you can separate those things. And acceptance is an active process. So it requires practice. It requires art. It is a skill that you have to practice. It is an art. So you have to practice this with people. Maybe it's appearances that are different from you. I mean, we're real quick to judge a book by its cover on certain things, and it's natural, but it's a skill to practice accepting appearances that may be different from yours, emotions that may be different from yours. It all is a skill that you have to practice that. It can be done. But I wanted to be very, very clear that it does not mean that you agree with every viewpoint. It does not mean that someone's cussing you out and you just have to accept it. It does not mean that someone's in your home discussing things you don't want discussed and you just have to accept it. It does not mean that your child is out there living this crazy life, drugs, stealing, I don't even know, just everything, just out drinking and driving. Doesn't mean you accept those behaviors. You can still accept your son, your daughter, but not accept the behaviors. So I wanted to be very clear that those are different things. You can love the person and hate their behavior. And those are not mutually inclusive of one another. They are very separate, okay? So I just wanted to be clear that When I'm talking about the art of acceptance, that there is an art to accepting people, that's what I mean. It is a skilled practice, a skill through practice, and it is something you have to actively do. You have to be conscious of accepting people and their emotions. You also have to be conscious of setting boundaries with people that maybe their belief system's so far different from yours that you can still accept the person and not hang around them all the time. You can still accept the person and love the person and not talk to them all the time. You can still do those things. You can still pray for that person, but you do still have to have boundaries in relationships, whether it's at work, family, friends. Sometimes you have to create those boundaries when somebody is so different in their viewpoint. Listen to them. Accept them by trying to understand their perspective. But if it's so far different, then you have to sometimes create those boundaries so that it doesn't rub off on you or your family or whatever, or just affect your work, affect your home life. So that's it. The art of acceptance. It's practicing acceptance. It's a skill. It's an art. So I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you next time.